It's college basketball on the ACC Network today here in Littlejohn Coliseum. It's the North Carolina A&T Aggies out of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference against the Clemson Tigers. Game 2 of the 2017 and 18 season for both clubs. Hi friends, along with Kelly Gramlich, Pete Yannity with you. Let's focus in on the key players on either side. Starting out with North Carolina A&T. Femi Olujobi had a huge game debuting the other night for the Aggies.
Olujobi, a transfer from Oakland, maybe their most talented player offensively, also very good on the defensive end as well.
For the Tigers, Dante Grantham, one of the senior leaders, and he stepped up big in the win against Western Carolina Friday.
Grantham looking more like his sophomore self, 14 points against Western, 5 boards, and importantly, 3 for 3 from beyond the arc.
Starting lineups, and for a team that has a lot of newcomers, North Carolina A&T, counting among others on Jafet Kaji. He's done a nice job for them so far, and they're expecting big things out of the 6'7" redshirt sophomore.
Kaji, another transfer, 8 newcomers for this A&T team. They are still trying to gel early on.
And for the Tigers in the pivot today, Eli Thomas getting the start. It was Mark Donnell getting the starting assignment there the other night.
Eli Thomas, I think Clemson's most talented big man. 11 points against Western. He added some boards. He's going to be big for Clemson throughout the year.
Thomas and Olujobi jump center. We're underway here on a Sunday afternoon in Littlejohn Coliseum. First ever meeting between these two teams. North Carolina A&T with their opening win Friday night against Greensboro College, a Division III school. They play regularly right across town. They're located North Carolina A&T in Greensboro, North Carolina, and Thomas unable to finish inside.
Early miss for Thomas. He should have his way inside. He's the most physical and most imposing post on the floor today.
Freshman running the point, Cameron Langley with the ball for North Carolina A&T. Oh, and Olujobi, unforced error right there, and the early turnover the other night. North Carolina A&T giving it up 16 times. There's Jay Joyner in his second full season as the head coach. He took over in the middle of the 2015 and 16 campaign. Longtime head coach Cy Alexander, who Joyner played for at SC State, stepped down. Shelton Mitchell driving the baseline, reversing, can't get the roll, but there's Thomas, and the Tigers get a fresh shot clock. Reed the open three. And a whistle inside, and our first foul of the game. And they're going to get a push. And it's going to go against the Tigers, I believe. Elijah Thomas with his first, and that's the case. Brad Brownell got career win number 125 at Clemson and number 289 overall. Starting his 8th season with the Tigers. Of course, his 3rd head coaching stop. North Carolina, Wilmington, and Wright State prior to Clemson. Interestingly, it's the first time, just like the Tigers, that he's faced North Carolina A&T. You'd have thought maybe at Wilmington they'd have played a non-conference game while he was there. Grantham and Gabe DeVoe. Good to see DeVoe out there. He went down early in the second half with what looked like a very painful knee injury, but returned to play a little bit in that game, and is back out there starting tonight. And the first bucket of the game delivered inside, and a quick timeout called by North Carolina A&T's Jay Joyner. Eli Thomas getting the Tigers on the board.
And like we said earlier, Eli Thomas should have his way inside. I think an emphasis for Brownell in this game is to go inside to Thomas as much as possible. He missed that first one, converted on that last post-up.
And obviously the Tigers are going to have a lot of advantages in this game, and one of them the size inside. When you've got a 6'8" swingman like Grantham able to get the rebound and then feed a big fella in the post, you're going to try to work that early to build a working margin.
A&T's front court is pretty much all Grantham's size. Now, a little more strength, a little more muscle than Grantham, but when you can have a 6'8" guy like Grantham who can really do it all, you have to use him to your advantage if you're Brownell.
What an officiating crew we have today. 2 guys who were in the Final Four last year, Mike Eads and Roger Ayers, and joined by Billy Covington. Sunday afternoon action. Folks still coming into Littlejohn Coliseum. Tigers go from here to a tournament in Charleston Thursday through Sunday. Langley out high. On the wing to Larte. He can't get it to go, and there's Grantham with another rebound. The other night he pulled down 5. Grantham feeding Donnell, who just checked in, and off the window. The Illinois transfer makes it a 4-0 game.
Grantham found a way to find Donnell via the backboard. Innovative play there from Dante Grantham.
And from downtown, Littlejohn with that 34-point effort the other night. He was 0 for 1 beyond the arc, but the Oakland transfer is first 3 in a North Carolina A&T uniform. And North Carolina A&T going with a zone here, Kelly, as DeVoe tries to shoot over it and he knocks down the trays. So that's what you do when you see a zone.
Clemson has a few potential zone busters. Gabe DeVoe is one of them. He was 2 for 2 against Western, being more efficient from beyond the arc. But Gabe DeVoe says, if you're going to play us in a zone, I'm going to shoot this 3.
A&T working the perimeter. Lartey out high. And Littlejohn from out front this time. Can't get the roll. There's Grantham with a 3rd rebound here in the early going.
And leading the break once again.
Showing the ball handling skills. Donnell can hit it from the outside. He was 9 of 18 last season at Michigan. Drive inside. Grantham and 1.
You've got to love Dante Grantham's aggressiveness. That has to have been a point of emphasis over the offseason. He took too many threes. He settled for too many long jumpers last year. He's 6'8". He's so long. He has to attack the basket more, and that's what he did right there.
Good start for Grantham. 5 out of 6 from the field the other night in the Western Carolina game a year ago. 74% from the line. Knocks that one down. Needs 2 out of 2 here in the early going of this 2017 and 18 campaign. Finally crossing over. Nice move on Reed. Littlejohn underneath. And the foul will be called down low.
Cameron Langley, just a freshman, but he did have 10 assists on Friday against Greensboro College. He sees the floor well. That time Shelton Mitchell, good help side defense, but Langley does see the floor well for only a rookie point guard.
And the Tigers' Marquise Reed with his first foul, so 2 on the Tigers, 1 so far on A&T. Littlejohn, we told you, transferred from Oakland University of Michigan, but he sat out last year, so he wasn't on that Oakland team that came into Littlejohn in the NIT. And went to the free throw line against Greensboro 12 times with 8 out of 12 on Friday, and he hits his first effort here this afternoon.
A&T attempted 41 free throws against Greensboro. I don't think Coach Brownell wants to see that this afternoon, Pete.
Wow. That might be more attempts than the Tigers and Western Carolina combined, and Clemson shot quite a few the other night.
I think so.
A couple of free throws by the good-looking player, Littlejohn, and it's back to a 5-point game, and then it changes as DeVoe hits another 3, this one from the corner. And a 13-5, 8-point lead, biggest so far for the Tigers.
DeVoe has such a sweet stroke, and when you find him in stride and he sets his feet, that ball's going in more often than not.
Boykins, a Georgia Southern transfer, a graduate student in his only season with A&T, defended by a guy he knows real well, Gabe DeVoe. They were buddies at rival high schools in Western North Carolina, also AAU teammates. Shot clock down to 5. It'll be A&T ball, but just 3 on the shot clock.
We'll see if A&T can get a shot off. A point of pride for Coach Brownell, and part of his defensive mindset is shot clock violations. That is a turnover in the books, but also just a point of pride for a defense.
Langley inbounds. Littlejohn stops and pops over Donnell. Won't get it to go. And the rebound by Grantham, who's having a good afternoon on the boards here in the first 4 minutes plus of the game. The drive by Mitchell. Can't get the roll, but he'll head to the line on the other side of the official timeout. Tigers have jumped out to the early 8-point advantage against North Carolina A&T here in Littlejohn. Gabe DeVoe was a perfect 2 out of 2 the other night beyond the arc, and he has matched that so far today. We welcome you back to Littlejohn. Tigers up by 8, but the senior, another guy that's got a hit from long range for this Tiger team.
That's right, Gabe DeVoe finding his stroke from the right side already this afternoon, and this one is just textbook. Shelton Mitchell drawing the defense, hitting Gabe DeVoe right in stride. He sets his feet and knocks it down. That's a shooter's dream, that pass right there.
DeVoe, an alum of Shelby High, the Lions, and 6 points all coming from long range so far. We mentioned Devontae Boykins, a Georgia Southern transfer for North Carolina A&T, but he plays for the Cavaliers of East Rutherford High. They're in Cleveland County. Shelby's in Cleveland County, and East Rutherford's in Rutherford County. And those guys, rival high schools, would play against each other. Obviously, kids growing up played, and then they were AAU teammates too. So.
And Gabe DeVoe, kind of the opposite of what we have now in that one-and-done culture. He didn't play much at all as a freshman. Kind of worked his way up, now in the starting lineup, arguably the best three-point shooter on the team. A testament to 4 years. When you play 4 years, sometimes that senior year ends up being your best.
And a good free throw shooter, Shelton Mitchell, knocks down 2 out of 2. Biggest lead So far for the Tigers, as it swells to 10. Inside, Boykins with a runner over Mitchell. And the answer by North Carolina A&T, which a year ago started what was just a dreadful season at 1-15. They won just 3 times all year and had only one victory against a Division I team, and that came late in the year against their arch rival, North Carolina Central, which is a very good ball club. There's DeVoe opting for a 2-point bucket as he drives inside.
If DeVoe's hitting threes, they're going to be all up on him. They're going to be pressuring him outside that arc, and he'll have more of a chance to attack. Not the quickest guy laterally, but he can attack when you give it to him.
Kaji from downtown, and that one goes. So a 3-pointer keeping A&T hanging around here in the early going, back within 7.
Every player that scored for A&T is a transfer into this program. Joiner's been bringing in some new blood.
Mitchell, second effort, no, and the box out inside by Langley. Langley, just a freshman out of a real good program at Southwest Guilford right there in Greensboro, so he knows all about A&T. From the corner this time, Alujabi missing badly that time. DeVoe with the rebound. Grantham thought about it out high, goes inside, up and under, no, but he'll head to the line, and they're going to get Alujabi on the personal.
Foul is on 25, Femi Alujabi. That's his first, 13 foul.
Here you see Gabe DeVoe attacking the lane. Again, once you hit a few threes, that defense is going to rush out on you. And that time, Grantham closed out but didn't have a hand in the face. And as shooters say, hand down, man down. Kaji's going to knock that down.
First foul on Alujabi, their best player. Now 3 on North Carolina A&T. Tigers with 2, and Dante Grantham a year ago was 74% from the line, knocking down that attempt. He's now 2 out of 2 on free throws this afternoon.
I think Grantham has set out this year to make all of his, quote, a year ago stats irrelevant. That's kind of his goal this year. And I think last year he would have taken that 3. This year, pump fake, attack the basket, get to the line.
1 out of 2 for Grantham. 8-point lead for the Tigers, who've led by as many as 10. And just into the game, A.J. Oliver with the steal. And DeVoe looked underneath for Donnell, but they'll reset out high. Now Grantham. And Clyde Trapp, who also just checked in with his classmate Oliver, but the turnover by the Tiger out of Lower Richland High, just outside of Columbia.
And here you see Grantham swing it to Trapp, and I think this is one of the most common mistakes you'll see from freshmen because they're trying to go too quickly, they're trying to attack the basket. You have to set your feet and then move, otherwise you're going to get called for a travel. Just a freshman mistake there for Trapp.
Just into the game for A&T, the fellow who we just moved off of. Number 33 is Denzel Keys, and we'll talk about his very interesting athletic past. And now Bill Covington and Mike Eads, 2 of our officials, are going to come over to the scorer's table. And the situation they have is the fact that Denzel Keys is wearing 33. We just noted that. He's not listed in the book as 33. He's listed as 23, which was their preseason number. The other night in their opener against Greensboro, he wore 33. On the rosters we were given before the game, it said 23. So we were prepared for anything here. But the way it works is, of course, you enter names in a scorebook before a game, and that's the official ledger of who you plan to play in that game. So that, for example, an administrative technical foul is what it results in. Let's say Kelly Gramlich, a former star for the Clemson women's team, suddenly decided she wanted to get back out there and had 1 game of eligibility left. Well, a team could just pull you from the stands, and suddenly you'd be lighting up things, from outside. Kelly, Pete, with you. But anyway, so that's why they do it. So the administrative technical foul is enforced because they didn't cross-check and didn't have the right number in there.
And you hate to see that, too, because it hurts the game and the players out there, and it's not their fault, right? I mean, they don't do the book, but hurts A&T there, and now Clemson gets 2 free throws and the ball.
Gabe DeVoe got the roll right there. And so the Tigers' lead is back out to 9 at 19-10. DeVoe, one area where he'd also love to improve from last year was only 60% from the line. And again, he'll get many more minutes, many more opportunities this year. But that was on a team, one of their guards, who's a pretty good outside shooter, 60% on a team that had one of the best free throw percentages in Clemson history last year, 73%. Boykins, he can run the point or play the 2. And Keys also is one of those on the team, doesn't have his name on the back of his jersey like some of his teammates. Feed to Malik Gans, who drives inside and athletically puts it up and in. A transfer in from Harcum Junior College, one of the 8 newcomers on this Aggie squad. They're back within 7. DeVoe trying to add to his 3-point run of the game. Can't get it to go, and a foul over the back on Amir Sims, who just checked in for the Tigers. And that'll be his first, and even things up in the team category at 3 apiece.
Here's Gans attacking the basket, athletically avoiding William there. William maybe could have tried to take a charge. Gans, a JUCO transfer. He was a third-team All-American at that JUCO level. He can really score the ball.
See the guy who's been the story of the moment, Denzel Keys, number 33 at midcourt. Tell me a little bit about his background.
Denzel Keys, a very interesting background. He played both football and basketball at A&T. Decided to focus just on football last season. He scored a school record 25 touchdowns for the Aggies. He has 1 year of eligibility left and using it this year on the basketball court.
So a couple of years away from basketball, but a guy who made his hoops return as one of the newcomers for the Tigers knocks down the 3 as Donnell gets the tray. And again, we told you when he was at Michigan, he was 9 out of 18 last year in 3-pointers. Battling inside, Keys the rebound. Out on the wing, Boykins, and he hits the tray. A big one for North Carolina A&T to pull back within 7.
Sometimes that's the best way to get an open 3 is off an offensive rebound. That time you kick it out to Boykins, and he knocks it down.
Trapp and Sims, couple of freshmen on the floor with the graduate student Donnell and another freshman Oliver with the ball, and DeVoe. And Donnell, pretty good ball handler for a guy his size. We're going to get a blocking foul called against Cameron Langley. As bodies and the ball flying almost simultaneously.
And that's freshman versus freshman right there with Trapp and Langley. Could have been an offensive foul, but I don't think Langley's feet were ultimately set. And that time, the foul goes to the defense.
And you see now 4 on North Carolina A&T, 3 so far on the Tigers. Freshmen will be counted on in addition to guys like Donnell and also eventually David Scarra when he becomes eligible in mid-December. So a lot of new faces on this Clemson team. Not as many as North Carolina A&T, but a half dozen guys who are playing this year and didn't a year ago. Here's Trapp with the runner. Can't get the bounce. Inside, Sims the rebound. And Oliver tried to save it from going out. Good effort, but out it goes. Back over to North Carolina A&T. Timeout on the court. Tigers have a 22-15 lead here in Littlejohn. 7-point game so far here in Littlejohn Coliseum as we welcome you back along with Kelly Gramlich, Pete Hannity with you. Good to have you spending some time with us on a Sunday afternoon, and so far pretty even battle. Tigers lead by 7, but you look at the early stats and the shooting percentage is about the same, and I think Clemson will benefit from playing some of these mid-major teams that have some athleticism and can hang with them for a while.
And we've talked about how A&T has a lot of newcomers, 8 newcomers on this team. Clemson does as well. When you look at who was on the floor before that last time out, 2 seniors, 3 freshmen on the floor together. You're really gelling those guys at this point. And now your new faces for A&T, numerous transfers, a few JUCO guys, also some freshmen, 8 newcomers for A&T. A lot of guys getting their first taste of college basketball this weekend and in their second game of the year.
For the most part, the newcomers for North Carolina A&T are guys who've already played college basketball at some level, either junior college or another Division I school. That's one of their freshmen, though, Langley, and it would have been a turnover. But they say that it was a kick by A.J. Oliver. And Oliver, one of those interesting newcomers for the Tigers. We see the play again. And freshman who sat out last season, played his high school ball at Daniel High right here in Clemson.
Nearby, yes, and he came in January, kind of like what football players do now, to come in and get acclimated to college life. He is the son of the Clemson women's basketball coach who I played for my last year at Clemson. I've known AJ since he was, I believe, 8th grade, and I'm telling you, that kid could shoot then, and he can still shoot now. A shooter, but he's also 6'6", long, and athletic. There's
a shooter for North Carolina A&T, Malik Gans, draining the tray, and that is his first of the season and first of his North Carolina A&T career, and just like that, it's a 4-point game, as close as the Aggies have been in a while. Not only did A.J. Oliver's mom play college hoops at Virginia, so did her dad, and so did his dad, rather, and that one's going to go out of bounds off the hand of Marquise Reed. So Malik Gans from Harcum Junior College out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, got a good look and able to knock that one down.
Like we said, he has a knack for scoring the ball. He scored the ball at a high level, at the JUCO level, and sometimes that doesn't translate, especially early on in the season, but so far it's translating for him today.
And then, let's see, we're going to get the block or the charge. Will Covington look to Mike Eads underneath. And it'll be an offensive foul, so a good job by Donnell taking the charge right here on Langley.
Good job by Donnell. Set his feet. He was outside the circle, which is so important because otherwise that would have been a block. And taking a charge is not exactly something that shows up on the stat sheet or gets all the glory. But to sacrifice your body for the team, it can be a big momentum swinger and prevent a big dunk there for North Carolina A&T.
Dante Grantham back out there for Clemson. As the Tigers see the Aggies creep closer. In fact, 3 of the starting 5 back out there, including Reed, who pulls up at the free throw line and hits the jumper. Marquise Reed, now in his second year with the Tigers, had 10 the other night.
Reed has been kind of quiet early. That was only his second field goal attempt of the game. But he can score in bunches. He's instant offense, and once he gets going, he's tough to stop.
Gams out on the ring, dogged by Mitchell. Dangerous pass, loaded up by Larte, won't go down. Or I should say Jafet Kaje, who just checked in. Now here's Mitchell, corner, Grantham, got it.
Mitchell has been so good today early on, attacking the paint, drawing the defense for just a second, and kicking to a shooter in the corner. The first time it was DeVoe, and that time it was to Dante Grantham.
Mitchell had 6 assists the other night. Grantham was perfect beyond the arc, knocked down that tray, and Dante Grantham working on a good afternoon. His first 3-pointer of the game, he has 7 points. Just like that, back out to a 9-point lead. Unable to get the roll is Olujobi, and it'll go the other way. Tigers have led by as many as 10 here in the early going, and Reed can't get it to go, but then running into him was Gantz, and that'll be the first on the junior out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Now 6 on North Carolina A&T.
Well, Marquise Reed just put Gantz on skates. I mean, that guy just fell. And I think sometimes when you put a crossover on somebody and he falls in front of you, it kind of throws you off for your shot. You're not quite sure what just happened. He did get the foul call, and Marquise Reed, one of the best free throw shooters in the ACC.
A year ago, Marquise Reed, 91%. The other night, a headline news moment, he missed a free throw. In all of last season, he missed just 10 in 106 attempts.
I was watching that broadcast, and poor Jim Davis was talking about how great he was from the free throw line, and then he missed, so I'm very wary of that right now. And I appreciate Marquise Reed for not allowing me to jinx him.
Tigers have their biggest lead so far, an 11-point Clemson advantage, just under 9.5 to go here in our opening half. Keys with it far from the basket. Amari Hamilton, one of the guys who endured that rough season last year, with a nice feed, a nice finish inside for A&T by Olujobi. Mitchell shedding the defense momentarily. Grantham open from the wing. First miss from long range so far this year for Dante Grantham.
Mitchell got an open shot there for Grantham by just denying the screen. Sometimes the most effective way to use a screen is to not use it because the defense just assumes you're going over that screen.
Got to watch A&T beyond the arc. They've hit 4 out of 9 from three-point range so far.
Against Greensboro, they were 4 of 16, so you think maybe they'll come back to the middle there, but they are shooting the ball well from beyond the arc.
To beat the buzzer, Olujobi, and the rebound by Grantham, and he continues to add to his totals in that category. That's rebound number 5 in the first half. Donnell backing in the Michigan transfer. No, but Grantham right there for the grab and the put-in.
Dante Grantham, again, making himself a force inside, playing less beyond the arc and more in the paint, and it's working for him so far in his senior season.
Back out to an 11-point Clemson advantage. Keep in mind, it was about this time of the night the Tigers went on a 22-2 run to close the first half against Western Carolina. Hamilton just checked in, battling inside, and finally Donnell gets it off the floor. You see the quicks from Mitchell, open man in the corner, and Oliver overshoots the basket.
A.J. Oliver came into Clemson known as a shooter. I think he struggled a little early on as a freshman, but that's to be expected. There's so much pressure on him to make shots. All he can control is his effort and his defense, and he's producing there. So Brownell's going to leave him on the floor, even if he's not shooting a high percentage from 3 quite yet.
From way downtown, not going to go for Denzel Keys.
Clemson going to slow it up here a bit. It's been very much a back and forth affair. Clemson hasn't been able to run too many half-court sets. And that time, A&T gets in the passing lane.
And Keys throws it down emphatically. That ends a Clemson 9-2 run. Tigers, though, still up by 9 with a timeout called by Brad Brownell.
This will be a full timeout.
9-point Clemson advantage. Tigers have led by as many as 11 here in the opening half with Kelly Gramlich. Pete Hannity with you back in Littlejohn. Well, the other night against Greensboro, A&T had 12 steals. This was their first this afternoon.
And that's just a lazy pass from Marquise Reed. He knew it the second he threw that ball. Alujabi gets out in the transition and passing lanes, and then gets out in transition and dunks the ball with authority. The first fast break points of the game for either side.
So the bucket going down right there. You see Denzel Keys right there. And again, we told you his very interesting story that he was for a while at A&T, both a football wide receiver and basketball player. And he was moonlighting, double dipping, as they say. There was one time that he played a football game on a Saturday and hopped on a plane and played in Georgia Tech the next day.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
And that was Keys on the break. You saw his athleticism. If you can get up and dunk the ball like that, I think you can go grab a jump ball on the football field as well.
And Jay Joyner getting this team together and is so excited. And they've in their first game. And I think you could argue here in the first 14 minutes, coming up on 13 minutes or so in the opening half, have shown they're going to be an improved bunch from the 3-win group a year ago. Eli Thomas missing the free throw, and they'll get Grantham on the push-off, going for the rebound. That'll be the first on Dante, and now 4 on the Tigers. And moments ago, the Aggies picked up their 7th as a team, as you can see.
And Joyner, only in his second season, a young guy. He's brought in a bunch of fresh faces. He knows that 3-29 season last year isn't going to cut it, and so he's done something to fix it, bringing in a lot of transfers, and only in his second year at the helm at A&T.
Boykin step back 3 with the defender coming out, Grantham. Rebound Thomas, here's DeVoe. Tigers will check Scott Spencer in. He played some quality minutes the other night. That steal right there off the turnover. And taking it to the bucket was Gantz looking to dish. We've got a foul on the floor, and Gabe DeVoe able to draw the charge, and that'll be the second personal on Malik Gantz.
This is a big play from Gabe DeVoe. Another turnover for Clemson, but DeVoe creates a turnover of his own, taking the charge, sacrificing his body. And what you've seen from Clemson so far, 2 charges, both from seniors. Gabe DeVoe, a senior, Mark Donnell, a graduate transfer. When you've played basketball for that long, you understand the importance of taking a charge, and you saw it there from those 2 guys.
Gantz unhappy with himself as he goes to the bench with those 2 fouls. Dante Watson, a senior out of New Orleans, checking in for this Aggies team. Grantham feeding Thomas. Little spin move. Defended well, but scored better by Eli Thomas. Gets the bucket.
An underrated part of Thomas's game is he can use both hands very effectively. He is right-handed, but he's not right-hand dominant. He can hit the hook with the left, and that's so important for a big guy.
Amari Hamilton running the point. He's a senior from Milton, Georgia. Feeding across the baseline, and there's DeVoe with the steal. Gabe DeVoe coming up with a takeaway. A year ago, he had 37. He had 2 the other night. Grantham can't get it to fall, but long rebound out to Spencer. Tigers get a fresh shot clock. Spencer, really interesting guy to get back from injury a year ago. He only played a half a dozen games. It's almost like he's one of the new players, but he's got the athleticism and defensive ability to really help out. Finds Mitchell on the wing. Ooh, halfway down. No, but DeVoe making like a big man inside with a putback.
DeVoe on the follow. Very good skip pass there from Spencer. Like you mentioned, Scott Spencer didn't play much last year. You could almost count him as a freshman, but swings the ball to Mitchell, in and out on the 3, and Gabe DeVoe there for the follow.
In terms of leads, this 13-point advantage is the biggest of the afternoon for the Tigers, who again doing good work here late in an opening half to build on the working margin. Clemson on a 13-4 run. From downtown, that one's going to go, and a big one for the Aggies for Dante Watson. Now 2 out of 2 on the season from beyond the arc.
We haven't seen much of Watson so far. Joyner keeps going to his bench. I think he's going to play about 10 or 11 guys. As it's so early in the year, he's still developing his rotation. Off
the Spencer miss, taken off the floor by DeAndre Johnson of the Aggies. Here's Hamilton on the wing. Boykins, quick catch, quick shoot, and run down by Thomas.
one way A&T can stay in this game, or maybe even get back in this game, is to hit threes. I think they know that and they understand that because they don't have an advantage inside. But if they can get hot and hit a few threes and cut this thing to single digits at halftime, they can stay in it.
They've already hit more this afternoon than they did all of the other night. They've hit 5 so far, just 4 on Friday against Greensboro. No for Mitchell. And here's Keys bringing it to the front court. I don't think they want to get in a running game. They look like against fellow mid-majors, maybe in their league they'll want to run a little bit. They have the athleticism, but I think they'd rather play more of a half-court game against Clemson here today.
They don't want to run with Clemson. They want to make Clemson run their sets, and I think what they would ideally want from the Tigers is for Clemson to take quick threes in their sets, which is what we've seen from Clemson so far.
10-point Tiger lead, official timeout on the floor.
And here's Elijah Thomas inside, using his strength, using his versatility, and using that left hand for 2.
Ten-point lead for the Tigers in this first ever meeting with North Carolina A&T here in Littlejohn Coliseum on a Sunday afternoon. And that guy was playing in Death Valley on a Saturday afternoon, but wearing a national championship pullover instead of the number 42, big Christian Wilkins. Big sports fan is he.
Looks like he's kind of in disguise today, Pete. Maybe
That's right.
He wants to have more of a chill Sunday afternoon in Littlejohn.
Low profile.
I saw him also at the women's game on Friday as well. He supports all teams on campus.
Very personable guy, really good guy. From a family of 9 kids.
Wow.
And he's the youngest. A&T trying to get a little bit closer. They've been as close as 4 after falling behind by double figures, but that's not going to go down for Kaji, and here come the Tigers.
Clemson did a great job of defensive rebounding. A&T has 1 offensive board the whole day.
What a finish by Sims. What a find by his fellow big Eli Thomas, and the lead is 12. Tigers have been up by as many as 13 here in the opening half.
When you see Amir Sims, you do not think he is a freshman. That guy has a college basketball ready body, and when you look at him, just at appearance, you think that guy has a chance to play in the NBA. I think he will down the stretch.
Kaji feeding in the lane, and wow, nice play by Alujabi. No fear going against the tall trees, and back to a 10-point deficit for the Aggies. DeVoe. Sims takes that feed any day of the week. Nice find by Gabe DeVoe, and the freshman off the bench. Couple of quick buckets out of the timeout.
Gabe DeVoe doing it all today. He has 11 points. He now has 2 assists. He even had that putback with the rebound, shooting the ball well. He looks like a senior out there today.
Kaji over top of the freshman Sims. Can't get the roll. Thomas on the rebound. And with a pass underneath intended for Sims, but he got hung up by the defender, so it'll go the other way. Real nice when you can get an assist out of your big man like Eli Thomas.
A little high-low action right there. Thomas even looked off Sims, looked to the corner, fooled A&T all together, and Amir Sims with an easy 2.
And again, good job moving without the ball by Amir Sims, and it's playing above his grade level, if you will, in terms of experience. There's Alujabi inside, as you saw the turnover situation, but Alujabi trying to keep A&T in this game as we're under 2 minutes to go before the half.
There's nothing a guard or even a post up top likes more than a big guy who can move without the ball and find a way to get open and get an easy 2.
DeVoe running things out high. Thomas spinning in on Alujabi and puts it up and in. Boy, Eli Thomas needs to put that move in his back pocket.
That is a big-time move from Eli Thomas. Not just the drop, step, and spin, but hanging in the air, drawing some contact. Could have been a foul there. Big move from Eli Thomas.
Tigers led by 22 at the half of the night. Probably not going to get it out that much, but they do have a double-figure advantage here as the foul is called on Eli Thomas. And speak of the devil, right there, a beautiful play inside, but that's now his second personal, so he'll head to the bench.
Thomas is what I would call deceptively athletic. I don't think he strikes you as a guy who's going to dunk the ball with authority like maybe Amir Sims, but he can hang in the air, and he's a little more athletic than I think he appears on the court.
Good job by Spencer, knocked it away, couldn't save it, then the rejection by Sims on Dante Watson trying to drive inside. Sims bullet inside, Donnell can't get it to go. And Langley with the Another Larte with the rebound for A&T.
Point blank layup there, miss for Donnell. He knew he had it. He knew where he was. Just put a little too much on it.
Chances are they'll try to take the first half clock as low as they can. And just as I say that, a long attempt won't going to go down for Hamilton. So the Tigers now, with the shot clock off, will set something up.
Smart by DeVoe not to push the ball there. Give it to your point guard. Run a set. Run the clock down till about 5 seconds and go get a shot.
Mitchell defended out high by Hamilton. Down to 2. DeVoe got hung up out high. Mitchell to beat the buzzer. It won't go, and that's how we come to an end here in the opening half in Littlejohn. A couple of 1-0 teams looking for win number 2. The Tigers head to the locker room with a 12-point advantage on North Carolina A&T. Getting ready for our second half. Tigers have the 12-point lead in Littlejohn. Pete Hannity, Kelly Gramlich with you back here in the Coliseum and trying for a 2-0 start before Clemson heads down to Charleston this weekend for a battle in a tournament there. And North Carolina A&T's next game is against a school from Charleston, the Citadel. Let's take a look at our first half highlights, starting with the visiting Aggies. And I would think that they're reasonably happy being within 12 after Clemson put on a couple of runs, and they've been getting some good work both inside and outside. Nice drive to the bucket there by Devontae Boykins, and some good outside work by them as well.
They've knocked down 5 threes. They've shot 15, so not a great mark there in terms of percentage, but the threes I think have kept them in this ball game. They've been aggressive offensively. You see a 3 there coming on an offensive rebound. They've shot the ball well, and I think they're happy to be down 12 at this point because they're still within striking distance if they can heat up from beyond the arc like we said earlier.
Pretty feed inside, and their leading scorer with 11 points is Femi Olujumbi, who had over 30 the other night in their win, and they've got a guy who used to play football. You saw Denzel Keys. A&T, again, reasonably consistent, although they kind of tailed off offensively late in the half. Gabe DeVoe, though, with a good first half of the Tigers. He leads the way with 11.
The story for Clemson so far in this game has been Gabe DeVoe. He's really done it all. He's shot well from beyond the arc. He's attacked the basket. He even got a putback there on an offensive rebound, which you don't see much from a 6'2 guard. He's attacking the basket there with the right hand. He has played maybe the most complete first half of his career in a Clemson uniform.
Pretty good balance for the Tigers and pretty good work off the bench by Amir Sims. His 2 field goals coming inside.
You love to see a high-low post-to-post pass. That's always good to see. The posts hitting each other, and there's Sims, his 4 points in the first half. A big block there, which led to a transition bucket. He also has 2 rebounds as well. A good first half for the freshman.
Brad Brownell and company. The other night with that victory, there was a 33rd consecutive season opening win for this Tiger team. And next time out for Brad and company, a school from the state where he used to coach. He was at Wright State in Dayton, Ohio. He'll face the Ohio Bobcats in Charleston on Thursday at 5 p.m. in the first of the 3-day Charleston Classic. And that's, of course, one of those tournaments where you play on Thursday, Friday, take Saturday off. Charleston's a great city to have a free Saturday afternoon. And then you play in the final day on Sunday. And I know that Tiger fans in the lower part of the state appreciate it. When the team comes down there, you got 3 opportunities to see the Clemson team play. If you live down in the low country, or it's even a shorter drive from the PD and Grand Strand, or even the Midlands, to get to see the Tigers play. It's not that bad of a drive at all to get down to Charleston. A&T ball to start things out. Olujobi, no on the 3 attempt. Thomas backing in on Olujobi. Little baby hook. No, but there's DeVoe with the rebound.
DeVoe, again, continuing to fill the stat sheet. That's a good rebound from him. Get a fresh 30 for Clemson.
We noted it earlier. Scary moment right around now in the second half of the night when DeVoe went down defending with what looked like a very painful knee issue, but he did return and has shown no ill effects of that today. Couldn't get it, but off the rebound, Thomas finding Grantham inside, and Dante Grantham, first bucket of the second half for either team.
Impressive pass from Elijah Thomas. Good vision there to see Grantham cutting to the basket. Again, you love to see a post hit a post in some way, shape, or form.
The offensive boards, and the Tigers doing a good job. You get second chance opportunities. More times than not, you're going to convert those.
I'm impressed by Clemson's 8 offensive boards, but more impressed by Clemson holding A&T to only 1 offensive rebound so far.
Kaji from downtown, and the lid remains on for A&T. Reed underneath Thomas with a flush.
Another great pass in transition, that time from Marquise Reed, and Elijah Thomas made the assist on the possession earlier, gets rewarded with a big dunk there.
Well, Jay Joyner, the head coach of A&T, might call a timeout and said Boykins drains a big 3 for the Aggies, and now the head coach of North Carolina A&T will use his second timeout in the ball game. Clemson had built on that 12-point lead. A&T back within 13, 45-32 our score. Tigers with a 13-point lead here early in the second half. Nearly half of Clemson's total coming in the paint.
Clemson winning the battle in the paint today so far. 22 points to A&T's 12, and 2 of them came right here. Elijah Thomas, the great court vision, finds Grantham for the easy 2, and then you'll see Thomas get rewarded here. You have an assist on a previous play, now you get to slam it on this one.
Elijah Thomas coming off a season last year. Of course, he couldn't play until mid-December after transferring from Texas A&M, but he averaged 7.5 points and 4.2 rebounds. I would suppose for Clemson to have success, the point total needs to get into double figures. They'd love it if he could get up around 14 points, but certainly the rebounds need to double up to about 8 a game as the drive inside by Mitchell, and he'll head to the line as he was fouled that time by Cameron Langley.
Here's Shelton Mitchell on the attack. Again, he's been so good hitting his teammates when attacking the paint. That time he went for his own offense and drew a foul.
Third foul on Langley, their freshman point guard. And Mitchell continues a good day at the line for this Tiger team, which is now 8 out of 10 on free throws. And Shelton Mitchell now 3 out of 3. Mitchell, the Vanderbilt transfer. And a guy who I think safe to say will be the primary point guard this year. And the rebound taken down by Jafet Kaji of A&T. Tigers have led by as many as 16 in this second half in the early going. Drive on the base. Larte, and nearly stolen by DeVoe, but it'll stay in North Carolina A&T's end.
You're seeing Clemson's length defensively. Larty attacked the paint. He was looking for an outlet, but Clemson in denial defense. They're just so long, it's tough to make that pass from that angle.
On the wing, Larty driving on Mitchell. Strong move to the hole, no, and Thomas the rebound. And they're going to get the whistle on the foul. And that will go against Quay Larté, who played his junior college ball not far from Littlejohn Coliseum over at Spartanburg Methodist, and he's originally from Atlanta, so this is a ball game that's convenient for his family and friends, obviously, to make the trip up and watch him in person. Second foul on him, and 2 quickly here on A&T. Tigers have yet to be whistled for a team foul here in half number 2. Oh, Thomas trying to a little give and go with Mitchell. Shelton recovers. Reed thought about it. Feed underneath. Grantham with a thunderous throwdown.
Great pass from Marquise Reed. He looked off the defender, hit Grantham, and Grantham dunked that thing with authority.
So Dante Grantham, who was cleaning up on the glass in the early stages of the opening half, has been cleaning up inside scoring-wise here in the early part of half number 2.
We've talked about how good DeVoe has been this afternoon, and he has. But Grantham has also put together quite a complete game. He's shooting the ball well, and he's filling the stat sheet.
That looked like a lot of fun in the making for the Tigers, but A&T recovering. Now here's Hamilton on the wing. Give credit, good hustle that time by Kaji to get the ball back for A&T. Oh, and once again, Mitchell able to take it away this time by himself and throwing it home.
First fast break points of the day for Clemson. They've gotten out in transition, but haven't really been able to convert. And that time, Mitchell gets in the passing lane and gets an easy 2.
Maybe I'm just noticing it now, but it seems like they've turned up the defense out near the midcourt line.
Well, we talked about Clemson and their length. Compared to A&T, they're just so much longer when you have a guy like Grantham out there playing denial defense on the wing. It's tough for A&T to make passes out there.
Tigers have built their biggest lead of the afternoon. 18 points. Chance to add to that. Grantham inside, and Thomas, count it, and he's fouled. Eli Thomas will get to add on to this 20-point Clemson advantage. Tigers up big with a timeout on the court here in Littlejohn.
And here you see Shelton Mitchell to Marquise Reed, and he's going to find a cutting Grantham. Beautiful textbook ball movement there, and Grantham with the flush.
Tigers have gone on an 11-3 run coming out of halftime, building their biggest lead of the game, and Eli Thomas at the line to try to add to that. That is Ray Martin, the director of basketball ops for North Carolina A&T. He's done a lot in his career, and he was at Notre Dame in the mid-'70s. He was a classmate of Clemson's longtime sports information director and radio color analyst Tim Beret. You see Tim right there on the right. Ray Martin at Notre Dame was on the court, part of a very historic moment in college basketball way back on January 19th, 1974. The Irish upset the UCLA Bruins, who had won 88 in a row going into that ball game, but it ended that record streak for UCLA. And in Tim Beret fashion, he provides us with the following little tidbit that's very interesting about Mr. Martin.
He was the sub that came in with 3:22 left in the game that kind of spurred the 12-0 run that the Fighting Irish went on to defeat UCLA and end that 88-game win streak. And I don't know what's more impressive, Pete, to have that as your claim to fame or to be a classmate and personal friend of Tim Beret. I'm not sure which one is more impressive.
So a mini reunion right here. If nothing else, with Tim as your classmate, you know that your life stats will always be on a quick file. Nice little steal, nice little finish on the other end by the freshman Cameron Langley. 2 quick buckets for A&T after the Tigers had built that big lead. And so it's back to a 17-point deficit. Tigers have been up by 21, their biggest advantage. There's Reed out front from long range, and the Tigers again up by 20 points.
Marquise Reed, only his 3rd field goal of the game. He only took 2 shots in the first half. His 3rd field goal attempt, I should say. He's now up to 7 points. He's made good use of his 3 shots. Has been good from the free throw line. 7 points on 3 shots is pretty darn good.
Good work inside. The 6'3" Malik Gantz able to score down low. Reed at 25 last Sunday against Tennessee in an exhibition. DeVoe leaves it short. Langley wants to run, gets it ahead to Gantz with Defoe defending, and Gabe DeVoe will commit the personal foul. So Langley, a freshman out of right there in Greensboro, Southwest Guilford, and showing you a good finish at the basket.
Langley looks somewhat like a freshman out there, Pete. He's a little smaller in terms of muscles there, but that time he drew the foul. When you look at Langley and you compare Langley to maybe Amir Sims or A.J. Oliver out there, he just looks more like a freshman than Oliver or Sims. And that's the biggest compliment I'll give this freshman group for Brad Brownell. They don't look like freshmen, and that's a big compliment for those guys.
Just the 3rd free throw attempt of the afternoon for A&T, and their first miss. Gantz the other night was 5 out of 8 against Greensboro, 1 out of 2 that time. It's a 56-39 ball game. That was the first foul on DeVoe and the first on Clemson here in the second half. And you see A&T with 3 team fouls so far. Scott Spencer is checked in. He's got the ball right there. And hung up in front of the Clemson bench, Brad Brownell elects to use his 2nd timeout. Each team with 2 timeouts remaining. We'll keep it right here. And then Brad Brownell starting out year number 8. It was last year that Brad realized he needed to change some things with his team on the offensive end. That led to things changing statistically on the defensive end, as the Clemson teams previously under Brad had held teams in the low 60s. Last year, that defensive number got up in the low 70s. The scoring number went up too. He points to the fact it's a natural when you play a faster tempo. That means more possessions, but I know a lot of work has gone in this year to try to get that defensive number back into the 60s.
First and foremost, Brad Brownell is a defensive-minded guy, and so he wants to have a team that is known for their defense. But when you do run more, like Clemson has with Gabe DeVoe, you're going to give up a little more points. That's just kind of how it works. And with these two, you have DeVoe and Boykins, who played against each other in high school, like we alluded to earlier. Old rivals coming together in Littlejohn today.
And at many points today, it has been Boykins, the former Shelby High Lion, defending, or the former East Rutherford Cavalier, rather, defending DeVoe, the former Shelby High Lion. And that one goes down for Reed, and he's building on his scoring day. Tigers build the lead back out to 19. So DeVoe out of Shelby and Boykins out of East Rutherford. Boykins transferring in for his final year of eligibility from Georgia Southern. A spin move inside, and Olujobi will head to the foul line. Take a look at that basket moments ago for the Tigers.
Marquise Reed, known somewhat as a slasher. That time, I think the defender thought he was going to attack the basket all the way. He pulled up for the little 10-footer in the lane, keeping the defender on his toes.
Olujobi, 8 out of 12 the other night from the line. And so far, 2 out of 3 this afternoon. That's his first miss.
And you're seeing Mark Donnell come in for Elijah Thomas. Thomas now with 3 personal fouls. That's been a point of emphasis for Elijah Thomas in the offseason. They need him on the court, and therefore he has to stay out of foul trouble. 3 fouls with under 14 in the second half isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's not ideal for Brad Brownell's club.
And especially as you look at the schedule getting more difficult down the road as it is back to an 18-point game. Remember with Landry Noko, that was a big issue through his career with the Tigers. A guy who gave him some good minutes, but sometimes he couldn't give minutes because of the foul situation. So something Thomas has to shed. They think Donnell will be able to provide a steady backup, but he's not the defensive presence inside that Thomas is. Nothing doing that time, so A&T a chance to get a little bit closer.
And this year, I would say Clemson is maybe the deepest it's been in a while in terms of the post play. When you have Donnell, you have Grantham playing the 4, then Thomas, you'll get Skara back in a couple of games. A lot of guys to use down there.
Olujobi on Donnell, and strong move for the 6'8", 233-pounder, originally from Long Island, New York, which is the same area where his head coach Jay Joyner grew up. There's a drive to the basket, and Olujobi can't believe it, thinking he got all ball, but based on the way Shelton Mitchell hit the floor, Mike Eads almost had to make that call.
Hard to convince the official that that's all ball when Shelton Mitchell hit the floor like he did and went sprawling into the baseline. There's definitely some contact here. He swung so hard for that block, I think there was some inadvertent contact, but that's going to be called a foul more times than not.
Olujobi, the way he reacted, and you saw just then making peace with Mike Eads. You've got an officiating crew that includes 2 guys who officiated in the Final Four last year and have done so before, and Eads and Roger Ayers, and also Bill Covington today. Mitchell, good free throw shooter, knocking that one down. Tigers as a team are now 10 out of 13 this afternoon at the line, make it 11 out of 14, and Shelton Mitchell is at 5 of his 6 attempts and now has 7 points in the game.
That's one part of Clemson's game as a program that has improved drastically. They were one of the better free throw shooting teams in school history last year, and looks like they're continuing that trend today. 11 of 14 on the day is pretty good.
Tigers making more than A&T has attempted. A little fake in the backcourt by Grantham, and the Tigers will set it up front court. Donnell inside, and he finishes over top of Jafet Kaji.
Kaji didn't stand a chance there. Donnell had such good position inside. He was just waiting for the ball. Took one drop step and scored.
Langley looked underneath. Now he'll kick it on the wing. Olujobi now. Kaji inside, rejected from behind Grantham, and the battle for the ball, and they'll get Langley on the foul. That'll be his 4th.
Grantham, good defense there not to foul, but also grabbed his 11th board of the game. Dante Grantham now with a double-double already in this contest. 13 points and 11 rebounds for the senior.
So number 4 has 4. He'll stay on the court for now, but I think they're going to try to get him out of there at the next dead ball, hoping he doesn't commit his 5th. Donnell, right wing to Mitchell from way downtown. Rebound by Olujobi.
Shelton Mitchell's been quiet from the field. He's been very good distributing the ball. Has scored most of his points from the free throw line. But this year, with all the weapons Clemson has offensively, they don't need Mitchell to score 15 points. They need him to distribute. And when he's hot, he can score. But they're not calling on him to kind of be one of those primary scorers this year.
Langley, feet inside. Good find. Olujobi knocked the first time, and on his second try, he's fouled. And they'll get Donnell on that personal. And that'll be the 3rd on the Tigers. Timeout on the court. Clemson rolling here in Littlejohn.
Big defensive play here from Gabe DeVoe. The senior skies up to block the ball off the backboard. Not sure many knew he had those hops, Pete.
Tigers lead by 20 in Littlejohn. We invite you to try to find the individual in that picture who's not enjoying a bottle of water. Nice time to come out to a game.
There,
yes, quite hydrated, yes. All right, your time is up. That was your try at that.
Oh, I was supposed to guess?
Yeah, you were. You had to find, like the old Highlights magazine, hidden.
Third from the left, maybe?
I'm not gonna. You're not going to get a second chance.
I saw the baby girl enjoying a bottle of milk.
Yes, exactly. That's the one. That's the one. So Tigers have built the 20-point lead. A&T though trying to hang close, and back to the line goes Femi Olujobi, a transfer from Oakland in Michigan, sat out last season, but early in his career played for that long-term and really fine coach Greg Campy. And of course Tiger fans saw Oakland coming here in the NIT last year, but Olujobi from Long Island, New York, at a 6'8", 233-pounder, and a guy who is one of their 8 newcomers, either by transfer or from the Division I or junior college ranks, or some freshmen, but they've got a whole different cast on the ball club that won just 3 times a year ago.
And Clemson shooting well so far in the second half. 8 of 13 from the field. That's 61%. That'll get it done. A&T not quite as good. Only 5 of 12 from the field.
Tigers, for the most part, keeping the starters in the court, although Donnell and Sims joining 3 who started the game: Reed, Mitchell, and DeVoe. And a turnover by Clemson. Can A&T turn it into points? No, and Gabe DeVoe pulls it down.
A&T has missed a few threes. Now the game is up in that 20-point area, but they've missed a few threes down the stretch that they'd love to have back, because those threes could have changed this game in some way. Just missed them barely there.
Good idea, but almost disaster from DeVoe's feed to Sims. Donnell, no. DeVoe once and then twice with the roll.
Gabe DeVoe with his second putback of the day on the offensive rebounding side. DeVoe, again, just doing it all. And I didn't know that he had this kind of athleticism, Pete. He's really showing us kind of a new dimension of his game.
He's listed as 6'3". He'd probably tell you it's 6'4", and he's now got 13 points in the game to lead the Tigers. There's one from the corner that's going to go for Quay Lartey. And he again makes it a 17-point game.
A&T is going to keep shooting them from outside the arc. They've already attempted 23s. I'd imagine they end near the 30 mark at the end of this game.
Nice find, nice finish. Mitchell to Donnell. Mark Donnell, the transfer from Michigan, and a guy who brings all kinds of experience, not just because he's a grad student, been around a while, but with Michigan, last 2 years he played in 5 NCAA tourney games. You see him with the tough assignment there, defending Olujobi, and that one last touch by the Tigers, but Donnell, a guy who earlier in the game I actually said the Illinois transfer, because it was on my mind that in the game at Michigan, for the Michigan Wolverines in a game at Illinois, Donnell scored 26 points in just 28 minutes. And again, he's a guy who doesn't fear going outside and shooting. That time not successful, but DeVoe cleaned up. But he was 9 out of 18 on 3 tries last year for the Wolverines, and he gives the Tigers lots of dimensions. And you see him there standing in the lane now, defending the very physical Denzel Reyes. But A&T now trying to cut into this deficit of 19 points. Reyes couldn't get the putback jam attempt, and it comes down to Donnell. DeVoe underneath, and a gentle finish by the freshman Amir Singh.
Great pass from Gabe DeVoe. And one thing you love about this Clemson team that we've seen so far is they have at least 3 guys on the floor at all times, maybe 4, that can lead the break, that can start the break. And that allows you to score in transition and get out and run. And right now on the floor, Reed, DeVoe, or Mitchell can start that break and go make a play.
Tigers matching their biggest lead of the afternoon, 21 points. That time Keys can't get it to go. Brad Brownell, bottom of your screen, calling out a play, and we've got an infraction away from the ball by Sims, reaching out with the arm. That's number 2 on Amir Sims, the freshman out of Palmyra, Virginia.
Sims talking to the ref, kind of understanding what he did there. I saw Brownell just give a little nod after that call. Again, Sims, just a freshman, he's learning what he can and can't do when banging inside in the paint.
See Dante Watson out on the court. Boykins out high, and they'll set things up. Driving to the basket, Gans. Sims able to deny, out of bounds. And it'll stay on this end of the floor.
That was a very impressive defensive play from Sims. They switched off. They switched that ball screen up top. So Sims was guarding a much smaller Boykin. He moved his feet. Look at the lateral quickness for the big man. Stayed in front of him. And that's impressive for Sims to be able to stay with a guard and prevent him from scoring, especially when the guard took that ball to top of the key.
Boykins over Sims. And wow, Devontae Boykins at 6'3", able to knock it down over the 6'7", very long Sims.
Conversely, for Boykins to come back and knock down a three over Sims, that's impressive there. I think two big plays from both of those guys. Still impressed with Sims defensively on that previous play, though.
Reed, weak side drive, no, but he'll head to the line. That'll happen on the other side of an official timeout. So Devontae Boykins playing in Littlejohn this afternoon, not far from his home in Forest City, North Carolina.
Step back three over a much bigger player. That'll get it done for Boykins right there.
Tigers lead is 18 points. The North Carolina A&T Aggies. There's their head coach, Jay Joyner. He played in the Palmetto State at South Carolina State. And we told you about the tough season they had last year, winning just 3 times. But this is a program that as recently as 2013 went to the NCAA tourney, and they experienced something Clemson got to 2 years before that when the Aggies played in the first 4 in Dayton and got a win against Liberty. They went on and lost to Louisville, which would go on and win the national title that year. In the 80s, North Carolina A&T had quite the run for a mid-major program, and the MEAC back then was a one-bid league, and from 1982 to 88, they won 7 consecutive MEAC titles. At the time, that was an NCAA record as Malik Gans drags his foot, but that's quite a tribute to them, so they've got some basketball tradition. They, in 1983, played down in Tampa. In the year, the NCAA had a few years before gone to a 48-team field, and then it was expanded in the early 80s to 53, and A&T was one of the teams. They did that to add some mid-major conferences, but A&T gave Purdue a run for their money in an opening round game in Tampa, Florida in 1983, so they were quite the program in the 80s, and again, they're trying to get it back to that, and they've got an infusion of talent that gives them confidence they can, maybe as early as this year.
A proud program with lots of tradition, and that's why I was surprised that Clemson had never played A&T until today.
You would think, as Clemson has played, as Shelton Mitchell knocks down the tray and builds the lead back out to 23 points. And that, for the Tigers, represents the biggest lead of the afternoon. And over the years, you've seen the Tigers, of course, play SC State. In fact, SC State owns the only win out of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference against this Clemson program. But Delaware State has come here before. We've seen the Tigers play Hampton and Norfolk State over the years, among others out of that league, but never North Carolina A&T until today. What a finish by Marquise Reed. And now the foul against Gabe DeVoe. You can't believe it, but the Tigers with their biggest lead now, 25 points here this afternoon at 75-50. And they've got a heck of a league this year. North Carolina Central, you may remember a couple of years ago, they beat NC State in Raleigh in a non-conference game and were really good last year, but they think that North Carolina Central will kind of come back to the pack this year. But they've got a league that's got bunch of teams that are kind of right there that are going to be pretty good, and they think it's going to be a dogfight. And of course, their tournament, just like any mid-major tournament where you know there's only one bid available. If you ever have a chance to go to a Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference or a Southern Conference tourney, they're great to watch as Grantham finishes in transition and the lead grows to 27. Those are great events to see because it's no holds barred, and again, a lot of times a 7 or an 8 seed can make a run to a title.
That's right. Those tournaments become slugfest because everyone knows that it's a clean slate, and if you win the thing, you're in. And conversely as well, for the 1 seed or the 2 seed, you've had such a great regular season, you maybe won the league, but you still have to win that tournament to get in the big games.
Tigers on a 9-0 run. Sims driving, Reed. And they'll reset things. Plenty of time on the shot clock. With under 6 to go, Clemson has opened this thing up, and Mitchell will have another trip to the line, as that's the 7th team foul against A&T, and that's the 3rd on Malik Gans.
Shelton Mitchell's done a great job today of drawing contact, especially on jumpers, which is rare to see a point guard especially get fouled while shooting a jumper. That's the second time it's happened today. He's gone to the free throw line more than any other Tiger this afternoon, and he's been 5 of 6 from the line, which is a good percentage. And then there it is. I jinx him.
The announcers jinx came out, but the Tigers a good day on foul shots. That was just the 4th miss and 17 tries for the team. And Mitchell now 5 out of 7.
You'd think now with Clemson up 27, under 6 minutes to go, you might see some younger players infused into this lineup. I'm not sure how much more we'll see of Shelton Mitchell or Marquise Reed. Maybe that under 4 media timeout. But you'd think that Brownell will play some of the younger guys in these final couple minutes.
When Mitchell hit 80% a year ago, that's one of the few times all year long where he'll come up empty on 2 tries for the Tigers' 9-0 run over the past 2 minutes and change. The reason why they're up by 27. Tough try that time by Dante Watson. And things have really cooled off offensively for A&T. Who shot 39% in the opening half, but they're off that number here in half number 2.
They're now down to 35% in this half. We've talked about that, Pete. If you can get A&T into the 35 or under percentage points, then you're looking good if you're Clemson.
And Grantham and crew making it look easy that time. Another jam for the Tigers senior out of Martinsburg, West Virginia. And he's taken over the team scoring lead, 17 points. Olajibi leads everybody so far in the game. He's got 18 for the Yankees, and that stops an 11-0 Tiger run as the runner in front of the hoop goes down for Dante Watson.
Pete, look at the balance for Clemson offensively. 5 guys in double figures. You have Mitchell with 10, Reed with 13, Thomas with 11, DeVoe 13, and Dante Grantham leading the way with 17 points.
Thomas backing in, little move, can't get it to fall. But there's Gabe DeVoe scrapping.
Another offensive rebound for Gabe DeVoe.
Grantham feeding Thomas again, lost the handle. Here come the Aggies. In transition, Watson again in front of the basket, and they'll get Grantham on the foul. Dante Grantham picks up the foul there, but he's been picking up the points as well this afternoon.
Dante Grantham, a beautiful feed from Gabe DeVoe, 1 dribble and the flush. Grantham, an impressive night, not just in terms of 17 points, but 7 of 9 from the field. Very efficient.
That goes with 5 out of 6 the other day against Western Carolina. So a good start to the season. A year ago, Grantham shooting 38%. If he can get that field goal percentage overall up into the low 40s, that would be really spectacular. And a guy who was 33% beyond the arc, Dante Grantham, in the ball game today, 1 out of 3 on threes, but still a good percentage as Dante Watson at the line, another Dante, and he spells it just like Dante Grantham, D-O-N-T-E. And he was just a 35% free throw shooter last year. We just saw why on those 2 attempts. DeVoe, way downtown, a little too strong. Rebound comes down to Lartey. Hesitation by the freshman on the drive, but Langley unable to get it to go. He, however, will head to the line and shoot 2 on the other side of the timeout. Tigers up big here in Littlejohn. So let's say you're an astronaut on the space station and you look down to planet Earth and that's your control room in Houston. What would you think? No, those are the guys who are doing the great work. As you can see, they really deliberated a long time on the paint scheme for that brand new control room they have in Jerby. Gabe DeVoe getting it done in lots of ways throughout the game and here in the second half.
Gabe DeVoe only 2 points in the second half, but he's done pretty much everything else. You see the offensive rebounding there. We've talked about that. An assist, beautiful assist here to Amir Sims. And DeVoe, 13 points on the day, 10 rebounds. A double-double for Gabe DeVoe. That's impressive for a guard to get a double-double, especially in the rebounding department.
And his minutes the other night limited against Western Carolina because he went out early in the second half with a bit of a knee issue, but return ended up with 11 points in that game. So a good start to his senior year. DeVoe coming off a season in which he averaged just over 7. Another try upcoming for Cameron Langley, a freshman who grew up right near North Carolina A&T at Southwest Guilford High, and 0 for 2 that time. And see what the Tigers doing. You mentioned, Kelly, the good balance they've had scoring.
If Clemson can get 5 guys in double figures on any given night, they are most likely going to win that ball game. And Dante Grantham leading the way with 17, DeVoe 13, Reed 13, Thomas 11, and then you also have, of course, Shelton Mitchell with 10 points. Most of those coming at the free throw line for Mitchell.
And Clyde Trapp, they're going to wave it off. He just checked back in. Both he and A.J. Oliver returned to the floor. We saw them early in the first half, but hadn't seen them until now here in half number 2. So many times we hear the deal about not over-penetrating, and too many times you see freshmen do just that.
And that was well done by Denzel Keys, the former football star for the Aggies over there at A&T. He set his feet. He was outside the restricted area. Textbook charge there for Keys.
I'd love to know how many times it's a senior or a third or fourth year guy that ends up drawing the charge on a freshman. It's just that savvy of having played the game. Speaking of Keys, he can't get the tray to go down, and Thomas had the rebound.
I believe every charge taken today on this floor has been by an upperclassman, if not a senior, which just shows how that skill really has to be honed and refined in order for it to be very effective.
Spencer kicking it to Oliver. Here's Thomas, strong move inside on Olajibi, and able to get it to go.
Strong move is right, Pete. That was a great move. A couple dribbles, banging inside, pushed his way into better position, and Thomas gets 2 more. He's now in double figures, 13 points. Or he was in double figures, but now up to 13 points for Thomas.
Boykins hitting another 3, so Dante Boykins from not far away in Forest City, North Carolina. Good double-figure scoring day for him. 4 out of 7 beyond the arc, 14 points. Trapp on the runner that time, and he avoids the contact and gets the bucket.
That's a pretty move from Trapp. He did. He made a concerted effort there to avoid being called for the charge. He floated it up, maybe picked up his dribble earlier than normal, but a good job there to avoid a charge call.
Another freshman that time, Langley, feeding for Keys on the finish. The Tigers rolling on to what will be another decisive win, and Brad Brownell calling a timeout to get Donnell back in and Thomas off the court. Clemson hitting the 85-point mark the other night against Western Carolina, and on the verge of that here for a second straight game.
Now pretty much all newcomers in for Clemson. Scott Spencer in his second season, but rarely saw the floor last year with an injury. And then Donnell, of course, the graduate senior.
And on the run out, it's Langley. Trying to make things look a little bit more respectable. So Thursday, 5 p.m. down at the beautiful College of Charleston facility in the Charleston Classic against the Ohio Bobcats. Interesting, the other night, Western Carolina coached by an Ohio alum and former coach Larry Hunter, and now Brad Brownell, after going against Hunter, will go against Hunter's alma mater and former employer on Thursday afternoon. Malik Williams finishing inside. So the freshman, one of those who just came in, and again, you're looking for any little positive thing you can get on film at this stage of the year to continue to show your young guys how to do it the right way. Ooh, spin move inside. I thought they were going to get Olajibi on the travel. Instead, they get the foul against the Tigers. Donnell. And really solid effort today by Olajibi.
18 points for him, 6 of 14 shooting, 5 of 6 from the line. You can see he transferred from Oakland, which is a pretty good mid-major program. I think one of the highest profile school that Jay Joyner got a transfer from, and he is their best player on the floor. He's going to make them go. And if he can score, like we said in the open, if he can score 15 to 20 a night in the MEAC, that'll be good for the Aggies.
Yeah, this is going to be a very competitive team in their conference, you can tell. And again, they've got a run-and-gun team coming their way in just a few days when they take on the Citadel Bulldogs. That'll be on Wednesday night, and that'll be an interesting game because I think they're athletic enough to get up and down the court with a team like the Citadel. Rebound inside, Malik Williams going for the finish and another bucket, but instead he'll head to the free throw line. Malik Williams, a guy new to the program out of Orlando, Florida's the first academy. Considered the number 20 prospect in the state of Florida coming out, and his fellow freshman Cameron Langley fouling out. With that, his 5th of the ball game.
And like you said, Pete, it's good for these Clemson freshmen to get some run because as you get into the bulk of your non-conference and into ACC play, you might not see as much of William or maybe even Trapp, but you want to get them some time early on, get their confidence up, have them get some experience. playing college basketball. We'll see in the Charleston Classic. I'm very interested to see how Brownell's rotation looks. If he shortens it down a bit, or maybe as the season is still early, as it's still November, he keeps it expanded there with William and Trapp and some of those freshmen.
William now 3 made and 4 missed from the line in his young career. 1 out of 2 that time. Under a minute to play. DeAndre Johnson, big fella, just checks in, and boy, oh boy, showing his coach maybe he should have gotten in a little sooner. He played briefly in the first half, but haven't seen him much in the second half, and that makes it an 86-63 game.
Coaches look at every minute of every game. If you can make your mark in that final minute, you can maybe earn a little more playing time in the next game.
A.J. Oliver can't get it to go, and Donnell last to touch it, so 31 seconds remain. And another try by Johnson, and Trapp runs it down. And Trapp bumped that time, so he'll walk to the other end. It'll be a free throw shooting opportunity for Clyde Trapp. That is the 9th team foul on A&T. It'll be a 1-and-1. Clyde Trapp rated number 4 in the Palmetto State, and of course his AAU coach was a fellow named Edward Scott, who had a very nice career for the Tigers about a little over 15 years ago. That's the first one to fall.
Beautiful stroke from Trapp. Again, these freshmen just don't look like freshmen. A testament to Brownell and his recruiting abilities.
And second one, no good. A&T would love one more score. Game's rejected by William. Good job by Malik. And the Tigers just going to dribble it out. And the final seconds will tick off, and Clemson will get another win against an MEAC school, and their first in the first ever meeting with the North Carolina A&T Aggies. 87-63 is our final. One of those ball games that Clemson jumped out to a quick lead, built it to double figures early. A&T hung around, and I think that's to Clemson's benefit. They got a ball game that really had the doubt no longer in question at halftime, but still a very competitive game deep into the contest.
An impressive offensive balance from Clemson. You have 5 guys in double figures. Grantham looked very good. Gabe DeVoe a complete game. Your seniors look solid, and your freshmen got some playing time.
Tigers are 2-0. Aggies are 1-1. Clemson next plays Thursday in Charleston against Ohio. On Wednesday night, A&T's home against the Citadel. Kelly, as always, a real pleasure. And for Kelly Gramlich, Pete Hannity saying so long from Littlejohn. This has been a presentation of ESPN.